Hi, it's time for another Choices History moment. Today I wanted to talk about an epidemic disease that attacked a large portion of Europe and England. And no, it's not the coronavirus. It's a mysterious virus that first came in the year 1485, and between that and the year 1551, so about a 50-year period, it came and went throughout mostly England. And when it spread to Europe, it spread to areas where a lot of English people were living at the time, to Holland and to parts of France that were controlled by the English or traded with the English. It's called the Great Sweat or the sweating sickness because that was one of the symptoms. It came suddenly, it repeated itself a number of times, mostly in England, and then it just disappeared from history. It has never come back again. So in the midst of this sudden and onset of pandemic in our world today, it's interesting, I think, to look at some other pandemics that came and went on their own. Hopefully, ours will pass as well. But here's how it went. First, you got cold shivers, and then extremely high fever, and you sweated profusely. Pain in the neck and the shoulders and the joints in the back. Horrible thirst. Terribly, terribly thirsty. Rapid breathing, and death. And people often died within hours of first contacting disease. People literally dropped dead walking down the street and just fell over. It was a very rapid acting disease. And they know it wasn't the plague and they know it wasn't the flu because even in that period of time, they understood the difference between those diseases and the symptoms for them. And they were able to pinpoint the difference between various ailments. But they had no idea what caused it, and to this day we don't. It's a possibility. It's something carried by mice. We're not sure. And oddly enough, it didn't follow the normal pattern of disease, and that, as we know right now, people such as myself who are in a high-risk category because of age or other health problems have to isolate themselves very much, and we know it passes from person to person. But in this particular time, rather than hurting children and old people, it tended to attack young, healthy, wealthy country people. The plague was more prominent in the cities, smallpox as well, because of the crowded conditions. But this tended to attack wealthy people who lived in the countryside and young adults. It ravaged colleges and college students. And you would be fine 1 minute, and 3 hours later, you would be dead. A number of family members of important people in the courts in England died. A number of important individuals in England died from this disease. And it was devastating for all those years. Many, many people died. It would disappear for 10 years, 15 years, then come back, usually in the height of summer. And it traveled very little. It never traveled north into Scotland or over into Ireland, which are very near England. But Holland, which is not very far away, and the English did a lot of trade with them, it did go to Holland. And then Calais, which was an area of France that at that time was controlled by the English, it went there. And eventually it went to Switzerland and Belgium and up in the Low Countries, all of which places in which there was a lot of trade with England. So evidently it was carried by English people. It was also sometimes called the Anglo-Saxon sweat because, oddly enough, the people in England have two main ancestral groups. The Anglo-Saxons, which are people from northern Germany, Holland, to that area, whose ancestors immigrated to England long ago, and the native people of the island of Britain called Celts. And they discovered that people that were primarily of Celtic ancestry did not die of this disease or get sick, but people of Anglo-Saxon ancestry did. Hence, the people of Scotland and Ireland, who are primarily Celts, did not contract the disease the way the English did, who are primarily Anglo-Saxons. And no one knows why. It's one of those great mysteries that we'll probably never understand completely. But the good news is, as bad as this pandemic was, it came and it went, and one day it left forever. And all we can do right now is hope that the current crisis will do the same and depart from the world and leave us in peace. Well, that's your Choices History moment for the day. I'm your host, Dennis. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day and keep safe.